It's not very often that I stick with a DRPG from start to finish. Something about the complexity usually pushes me away, be that managing a party of 4 to 8 characters, juggling their roles and positions, or just trying to stay invested while getting lost in a winding dungeon. There have been exceptions. Cryptmaster and Labyrinth of Galleria both stood out, each with their strange charm and creative ideas. And as much as I respect what they both offer, this is a game that leans heavily into niche territory, often in ways that could be easily brushed off as uninteresting. Dice and Goblins surprised me because it was a charming, lighthearted, and accessible take on the genre, while feeling rewarding, wholesome, adorable, and above all else, genuinely fun to play through. It effortlessly pulls you in with an emotional story, exploration, and dice building elements. The story follows a goblin named Gabi, who lives a quiet life within a dungeon alongside her tribe. It's a rough but familiar place for her, full of mystery and dangerous creatures. One day, word spreads that a human had entered the dungeon and a few of her friends have gone missing. This news strikes a chord with Gabi. Her best friend had vanished not long ago after heading into the dungeon's deeper levels. With growing concern and a sense for duty to protect her tribe, Gabi decides to set out alone. As she moves deeper into the unknown, she is pulled into a journey filled with danger, sadness, and understanding of her world. Dice and Goblins has got to be the most charming DRPG I've played. The art direction looked like cardboard cutouts placed on a diorama stage. It's simple, but that simplicity works in its favor. The visuals never get in the way and instead help the game stand out with a gentle, inviting style that feels more warm and personal. You can tell that a lot of care went into it. Even if some elements like the shopkeeper come across as a bit underdeveloped, they only add more to that charm. It's full of personality, giving the game its own identity without trying too hard to impress you with a cheap gimmick. You might have some issues with a limited number of soundtracks, but each one is very calming and also very catchy, which helps maintain the game's atmosphere from start to finish. That being, you're going to be listening to the same song on repeat for multiple hours before it ever changes. Dungeon crawlers live and die by their mechanics, and Dice and Goblins does a solid job of keeping things fresh while staying true to that genre. You'll navigate and map out the dungeon one tile at a time, solving puzzles and uncovering secrets. The game is clearly built with keyboard controls in mind, but you can still play with a controller. Movement is turn-based and grid-based, with options to turn, wait, or engage enemies. You start each encounter with a set of dice and each tied to different abilities or effects. These dice can then be swapped out at any time to suit different enemy types or strategies if you have enough energy, labeled as stars. Some enemies punish low rolls, others may be weak to poison or high defense. Pulling off these combos that deal massive damage or trigger a powerful cascade of effects feels great, even if the odds don't always go in your favor. You have plenty of options to work around. If you do fail, you retain all of your EXP and progression. You just have to make your way back to the location that you just came from. All enemies respawn, and each one usually has a mixture of different styles that you will need to prepare your deck for specifically, as to not trigger their powerful effects. It's really a mixture of strategy and chance that plays into the heart of what makes this game click both negatively and also positively. Dice and Goblins takes around 6 hours to finish, and for me, that was perfect. It's one of the rare DRPGs that I've actually seen through to the end. The exploration, the characters, and the overall concepts were wonderful. It never felt like a chore to keep pushing forward. Despite a few pacing issues, this is the kind of game that rewards patience and curiosity. It doesn't rely on a whole lot of flair. It puts its full trust in you to explore and figure things out, and also to enjoy the journey. That trust goes a long way, and by the end, it really does pay off. If you're after something cute, a little different, and short enough to finish in a few days, this game may spark something within you, so you could at least give it a chance.